All right, this is going to be a video part 1 of printmaking, and we are going to transfer our image onto our block and then begin to cut out our image from the block. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is use the transfer paper. The kind of transfer paper I use is very thorough, so you gotta be careful. This is just where I pushed on it and it showed up, so just keep that in mind to be very delicate with this. It's gonna go dark side down onto your linoleum block, not the side that I wrote your name on, the opposite side that has nothing on it, okay? It's usually a little shinier than the other one. So, and then I'm gonna tape my drawing, my reverse drawing on top. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw a lot of this in. So I'm going to use a pen. Pens usually work a little bit better. You don't wanna push too hard. You don't wanna be ripping the paper while you're doing this, because that's gonna also create a dent in the linoleum as well. But you wanna kind of go over your lines. And keep in mind, we're gonna go over this with Sharpie later. So I want you to, you know, be very precise in where you're drawing your lines in. And then you can go around your edge. There we go. And this is why, and you'll learn once you start transferring too, this is why I don't want you doing something too detailed. Because something that's too detailed is gonna take you quite some time to transfer, even more time to cut out. And I don't want you to get confused on what lines to cut out and what lines not to cut out. So I have a way to help you navigate through that process. So again, definitely be careful with this transfer paper. You'll see in a minute when I pull it up that the transfer paper will come up wherever you're pushing on it too. Just gonna go around all my little cactus spikes. Even this is gonna be a little bit tedious for me, I believe. Almost all the way around. There we go. Whew, made it all the way around. If I lift this up, you can see, whew, there's my line. See how much it just kind of bleeds out on it a little bit? So, keep that in mind, especially if you're doing some fine detail. This will actually be good for us when we go to cut too, because when you're cutting, that's about the thickness of the cut that you're gonna make. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and finish filling this in. And I'm even gonna color it in, even in the thicker areas of the cactus, because that's what I'm gonna color in with my Sharpie. Which is actually kind of nice. Make sure I'm getting the top in here. There we go. Now don't try to rush this. Take your time with it. The more precise you are now, the better off you'll be later. One more line left, I think. Here we go. this is transferred. Voila. Okay, next step would be to take my Sharpie and go over these lines. So I'm gonna take my Sharpie and fill in the lines. Now these are the lines that I'm cutting, okay? So I'm gonna mark with a Sharpie the lines I just made. So you have this kind of here next to you so you can see where to draw a little bit. It did come out a little fuzzy, but not too bad. There we go. I'll go all the way around with my Sharpie. And I highly recommend to use the fine Sharpie. It's more the accurate width of the cutting tool that we're using. Make that a little more simple there. And it's okay to change it a little bit as you draw, but you want to make sure you can still identify what it is you're making. So please do not lose what you're drawing. If it's hard to recognize after you're done coloring it in, it's going to be hard to recognize when we go to print it. And then I'm just going to go around, go over these lines. And got this side's done. Sometimes you have to take your Sharpie, scratch it on a piece of paper, get the ink flowing. When you're doing it on a different surface, sometimes it's harder to keep the ink bold. There we go. So these lines are a little fine in here, but I'm going to try real hard to get those lines. Of course, I picked something a little bit harder. Okay. So there we go, he's on it. And now what I want to do is color in the background, because I'm cutting all this out as well. My Sharpie's starting to die up on me. I need a clean Sharpie, a better Sharpie. So everything that I'm coloring in, this whole background, I'm cutting all of this out. Just like on some of these, how I have the background cut out, I'm gonna do this with the cactus as well. So this entire background I'm cutting out. So I'm gonna color it all in. Okay, this is all, yep, this is all gonna get cut out here. This all here is getting cut out. So in essence, I'm coloring in this. So whatever is in the background is going to get cut out. Okay. And I want you to do this so that you can know where things are going to go. So that there's no confusion. Even if it just comes up late, it comes up late. That's fine. At least you know where you're cutting. All right, so I look better now. Most of it colored in on where I'm going to cut out. All right, and then the next video I'm going to show you is how to cut out your image.